Hello, welcome back to the podcast. This week's episode, we have my friend Max. He plays piano in the trio. We've also been friends since college. We lived together for a little bit. We talk about we cover a lot. We cover advertisements. We cover making like a living doing music stuff and corporate music. And then also get into just like the pacing of social media and just all sorts of things. So hang out, grab a beverage. It's going to be a good time. And thank you for being here. Say words with me.
Okay.
Words with me. Ha, got him. Your turn.
Hello.
Nice. Okay. There it is. All right, one second. Jesus Christ, this has been the most difficult episode to start ever. You would have thought welcome back to Drinks with Dylan. We're starting halfway tilted already for some tech issues. But I think we're working. Max just has a robot version of me. I hope to God your audio is clear. Not like I don't want to do another podcast with Max. I just hate redoing shit that's live because you miss out on so much of it. But welcome to Drinks with Dylan, the podcast where the only rule is to have a beverage with you. There's no preemptive planning, and we just hope for the best for an hour. And you somehow clicked on this and chose to be here also. So thank you, and I'm sorry. With me tonight is super good friend Max. He plays piano in the trio. We've been friends I did the math before this. I know I said no preemptive planning, but I was trying to figure out numbers because I don't think that 2021 is really actually like 3 months away, but it is. We've been friends for almost 5 years and also played with the trio and stuff. And, I mean, that just makes college seem forever away, but, yeah, he's here and joining me, and we're going to do the thing. He already cracked open his beer, so his ASMR is gone. But for those of you that get to see this, look at this glorious gift Moore got me. I got a decanter, which is just some fancy glass thing with the cork that like somehow works, but makes that shitty screechy sound you just heard. And I got this giant, bro, look at the size listen, if you can't see this because you're listening to the podcast, you're fucking up. You should go join the Twitch streams and hang out. But look at the size, or the YouTube, it's Drinks with Dylan. Look at the size of this glass, man. You can't really tell, but it's like, this is my hand like fully around it. Like imagine holding
That's a hefty
it's wide as you can serve
vessel.
soup out of this in a like cafe.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't think we've ever done the podcast thing before. I had one previously, but I don't think it was just with one regular host. But I'm so glad you're here for it because I feel like you're a really smart guy, which is exciting.
As long as you feel that way.
I believe in the team. There was one thing. All right, so I say no preemptive planning, right? But there is some stuff that I think about a little bit before this, not on purpose. It just like circumstantially, I just tend to think about things. And one of those things was advertisements. And I wanted to talk about advertisements because I don't know how you feel about it, but I think they're super interesting. And I've seen some good ones lately, which gives me hope in people. Let me share why advertisements give me hope in people. I think that when you see like really crappy, you're really low on the screen. When you see, we're just going to make Max like the whole video, by the way, that like, I've seen some really crappy meme advertisements that are just like awful. Like there's one going around for a while on Instagram where a bunch of meme accounts were posting like, hey, Bud Light's looking for like a meme director or something. And they gave you like meme templates. And I think there's like something about it that's like trying too hard almost. And like the whole social media ads thing is just like, I've never seen anything on socials that was an ad where I was like, wow, this is cool. I mean, there's been occasionally stuff, but it's always just so like tacky or like out of place and just feels really, really janky. But do you watch Hulu at all? Is that like
I do, yeah.
Okay. Do you pay for Hulu?
Not, I pay the amount that they still give you ads.
Okay. Have you seen that Lego unicorn ad?
A Lego unicorn ad?
Yeah, it's like Super Bowl quality. It's super, super good.
Oh, wow, no.
They're like unicorns are everywhere. Different ad marketing. Maybe it's my Google Home that cues it up. So they have this thing, and they're basically like saying, hey, unicorns are everywhere. And then it's a bunch of people making like really crazy looking unicorns with Legos. and they're like, it's just the start of this whole world, and they're basically like promoting Legos, and the weird ending is like, hey, you get to build your own world in like a time where the subtext is just like, this world's kind of fucked up, but here you can make your own and everything's okay. And it's just like, that's
Legos will make it all better.
Exactly, which is just such a weird, that's just so bizarre. But I don't know. I think advertisements like are very reflective of what's going on, and I see a lot of shitty ones.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think. There's definitely been like some ads that I've noticed lately that I've been pretty impressed by. I think honestly, Progressive usually does a pretty solid job with their ads.
That's with Flow, right?
Yeah, but now they're not really doing Flow anymore. I think she's kind of probably getting too old, so they're using like other people. Now it's like the dude with the holding the sign.
Are my forearms looking bigger?
Yeah, it's like dumb shit like that.
Yeah,
where he's like looking at his arm.
Yeah, dude, that one's super good.
I think that one's funny, and like I think in general, just like companies who are going that route with their advertising, where they just know like dumb humor is kind of like the way to go nowadays, instead of trying to like make jokes
that are just like super out.
Geico.
Oh, are you back? Oh, there's an echo. What's happening? I'm doing the screen recording again. Can you say some words?
Yes. Hello.
All right. There's a little bit of a weird ringing when you talk, but that's okay. We'll just let that. That's just gonna listen. This has been the most. I don't want to. I never thought fucking editing a podcast would be hard until tonight, and now I just fucking. I'm not excited for it at all.
That sucks, dude. I'm sorry.
It's all good. I mean, it's probably Apple's fault.
I know this. There's something I was reading about it because Discord uses this like web-based, like it's not like HTML. It's like a different kind of code, and apparently, it's the people who like run that platform or whatever that there's some bug that makes the audio like something to do with a sound card on a Mac, like fucking up shit with Discord. So Discord is like, well, we can't do anything about it because it's like a bug on their end. And Apple is like, well, it's not our problem either. So
could you take out the one on your other ear by chance and just put that one back in? Weird. Okay. Oh fuck! I echo again now. Yeah, and you sound underwater. I was just checking it because it got all buzzy and shit again.
Is that better?
I don't know. Yeah, hey, the echo's gone. Yep, I guess that works. I mean, there's still the weird ring. Can you say stuff again?
Yes, hello?
Yeah, there's like this high pitch like when you talk in the background.
That might be because the water is running through the pipes, which should end in a minute or so because Romy is just like washing her hands.
Okay, gotcha. We'll keep it posted. Holy fuck. Welcome back, part 2, I guess. Jesus. Balls. I don't even know what to like. I don't know what to start with now. I mean, I guess I'll just keep the other beginning. We were talking about commercials and ads and Legos and then Progressive and the sign guy.
Yeah.
All right. First off, the favorite sign guy moment. And I don't know why, but there's two lines in commercials that get me every time. The one is when she's like, "You fell asleep with your sign again." And he's like, "You fell asleep with your sign again." No, I didn't.
Yeah.
Like the delivery of that line is fucking perfect. It's so good. Every time it happens, I'm like, that is a good delivery, sir. I'm super into that. And then the other one is, what's it called? It's that other insurance where he's like, "I stop people from turning into their parents." And there's a guy in the hardware store with blue hair.
I think that's Progressive too.
Oh shit. Maybe, yeah, and he takes off all the pillows on the couch because this person has like a shitload of throw pillows, and he takes off all the pillows. He's like, "There's nowhere to sit." And then this one guy's like reading about submarines. He's like, "Who else reads about submarines?" He's like, "My dad." He's like, "Yeah, exactly." And then my favorite one is like, we all see it, and there's a guy that walks by with blue hair in the hardware store, and then one of the dads is like, "He's got blue hair," and the other guy's like, "Blue," and it's like, the way he says blue is so fucking good. If you guys haven't seen these commercials, this makes no sense, but it gives me hope that like there's certain commercials that I still think are like good and not so shit. I feel like there was a chunk of time where like every commercial I saw was just like Tao Lopez in his car being like, knowledge, read a book a day. You want to get rich? And I was just like, okay, this is, no, I don't, sir. Relax.
Yeah. I never saw those, but
Might have been predominantly YouTube.
I'm trying to think like what other, in terms of like Instagram ads and stuff. I was also not a fan of the trying to like relate to the meme world or whatever by like trying to make some like meta meme ad. I don't know.
Fake self-awareness, like
Yeah,
pitch of like,
and
yeah.
and now like Hinge is doing it. Like people are just like making memes that are supposed to be like screenshots of like conversations that people have on Hinge, you know,
Yeah.
but it's just like an ad clearly for Hinge, and I don't know. I would rather, because the memes like it's not like they're funny, you know, it's just like stupid. So I would rather you just like show me an ad that was actually like, you know, something I
Like clever or
not
creative.
something I wanted to see, but yeah, something that was at least like more visually appealing than like a stupid fake conversation, you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, there's been some weird shit with that. Really quick, not to just go back into this fucking tech troubleshooting thing, but has the water stopped in the background?
no, not yet.
Okay, it's all good. I don't care. I'm just curious because I'm trying to gauge what it is or not. I don't give a shit because I'm not gonna be like, hey, fuck washing your hands. I can't believe it.
Okay.
I'm just trying to figure out because I just want to know how much I can make fun of Apple after this podcast for just
Yeah.
being so pretentious that they're like, hey, fuck every other software. We're just not going to work with this. For the record, by the way, everyone who's listening and watching, I convinced Max to get some games on his computer, which he did, only to find out that his Mac computer cannot run the vast majority of video games, which is like sad to me. Mainly because I wanted to play games with him, but also like this whole Mac versus everything else is just like super annoying. But I get the convenience of it because every time I walk into your home, and I don't know if this is just, I don't think this is just a Mac thing. I think it's just like a Max, like you get it, the word a Max thing where like you have the most
it's more
like
of a me thing.
you just have the most futuristic home. Like you just walk in and you can just like start turning shit on with your phone. Like the air's on and then lights come on and then they change colors and like we're not even inside yet. And I'm just like, are you getting robbed right now? He's like, oh no, it's all set up when we get in there.
Well, yeah, next time you come over, I'll have to show you. Speaking of getting robbed, now I put these sensors on the door and the window, so anytime the window or the door opens, I get a notification on my phone. So in case I'm like not home and the door open or the window opens or something, I'll know.
That's, hey, there you go. I mean, you live
Just
by
in
like a bunch
case.
of families, but in case any of those like 10-year-old, listen, little kids on scooters are the ones that fucking rob me at knife point, so they might
I
be the
know.
ones to hop through your window.
I also got it because our door that goes downstairs to the basement where someone else lives, and they have the lock on their side, so they could just unlock it and walk right in if they wanted to. It just always made me feel like a little weird.
Yeah,
Not that I like don't trust her, but
yeah. I mean, that's just a weird thing
having
in general. Like one person gets the key to the door is like, hey, here's this shared door, by the way, they can come in whenever. It's just like, that's a bizarre.
yeah. So, I mean, I put that other door in front of it, so that kind of helps. But
That'd be such a rough door to
if
open.
I'm not
just like,
home, now I'll get a alert that says, "Oh, the basement door open," and then I'll be like, "Oh, really?"
Well, they're about to open two doors. For the record, for context, by the way, because not everyone's been. There's been a couple of streams with Max and the record stuff, but he had a second door. How did you explain it? There's like the screen door and then the main door to get into like the place.
Yeah,
and then
because
there's
like I almost have
upstairs.
like a foyer area. So
But
there's
it's like a
the
2x2.
the front door, and then a tiny little area that's like the bottom of the staircase. It's almost like a landing of a staircase, but it just leads into the living room. But there's a door between that little area and the living room. And So we would always just leave the door open anyway because there's really no need to like shut the door. Um, but then the open door would be like hanging out into the living room and taking up, you know, space. So I decided to just take the door off. And then I didn't know where to put it. And since I felt weird about this other door that led to the downstairs, I just put that door in front of the other door so that I don't know. I don't know what if like if someone was like really driven to like enter our apartment, they still would very easily be able to. It's not like that glass door is really providing much of a barrier, but
I mean, I don't rob people, but I'd
maybe
be
they'll think
freaked out.
twice about it, you know.
Yeah, I'd be pretty fucking uncomfortable
They'll
if I
see
was
that
like,
door, I'll be like,
just like this whole
yeah,
shattering sound after you open a door. I'd be
right.
like, what the fuck just like, or like if I open a door and pushed and there's that much resistance, I'd feel like, all right, there's more behind
Well,
this
but
door
the
than a
thing
lock.
is the other door swings towards the downstairs, so they wouldn't push the door open; they pull
Oh,
the door open.
oh, well
So
then,
that's what I mean. Like it's not like it is really providing any kind of resistance or barrier or anything, but it's more of a mental barrier if they
yeah,
decide to open that door and then see another door. They're like, oh shit, do I really want to do this?
that's
Um,
fair. So I guess I don't have, again, there's no specifics on this podcast or rules, but um, I am going to run to the restroom, which just puts you on the spot. But I feel like, I mean, unless you wanted us to come up with something, but I'm also kind of curious. All right. So, in a lot of, I guess it won't matter if I miss much of this because I kind of know it, but in a lot of things that I've talked about, and in a lot of like, not that I don't give a shit about your stories, it's just, I've mentioned before as reference because we played in the trio since I was in school, right? And since you were in school,
yeah,
that's how we like both met. And when we started playing together with like the project that I was kind of trying to head, and there was a time when like you got that call to start doing kind of those like corporate gigs and private events and stuff on weekends, and then that kind of ramped up into like the day job client side gig, and then also like nights and weekends doing the performance side of it. And like I always use that as kind of an example of not like the like detachment, but I guess of when you're in school and trying to play with people versus when you're out of school and trying to play with people, and then everyone gets really busy with like, the whole like doing life thing and like making money thing. And when you're like, hey, are you free this day to do this gig? It doesn't really matter if you want to or not. You're just too busy. So I'm
right.
curious if you can like speak to that. Also, I'm going to run to the restroom, but like, I believe in you and support.
Okay, yeah. Um, I think. Well, all right, but before you leave, I just want to make sure like what you're asking me, like the idea that once you oh he just left. Shit. Um. Okay. So basically, I think what he's asking me is to elaborate on the fact that when you're in school, uh, there's quite a lot of convenience in terms of being around other musicians and being able to just like easily collaborate with people. And then once you leave school, you have to find some source of income, and a lot of people are able to just kind of gig in a pretty free, like freelance kind of way. But I don't know, that always is nerve-wracking. um and I was lucky enough to run into a opportunity that gave me pretty consistent work, doing weddings and corporate events and private parties basically. um and so once I started doing that, uh that kind of work started picking up more and more from me. So I kind of got into that circle of people, which was definitely different from the circles that I was running in uh when I was in school with Dylan. So I kind of got more involved with that, and it also helps that those gigs pay a lot more than you know regular restaurant gigs or jazz gigs or anything. So I was able to make a living just doing those gigs, and I was eventually able to quit my day job, which was just working at a coffee shop. So once I kind of got more comfortable just doing those gigs, then I got even more involved with this company that was giving me these gigs, and they were kind of trying to expand. So I basically started doing more work as a music director, and uh, then I was kind of put in charge of running like one of their main bands. So I was like rehearsing the band and organizing the music for the gigs, and also talking to the clients for the gigs. So if it was like a wedding, I would be talking to the bride and groom and stuff and figuring out what they wanted. Um, but that's kind of a lot to do for one person, I think. And at first it wasn't, I guess, but I think that was only because there wasn't so many gigs at first. I started working in the winter time, so that was kind of like the slow season. Um, but then as the gigs started to pick up, then the workload started to increase as well. So I just became busier and busier with that. But at first I was like kind of happy about it because it just really meant, more money. But then um didn't necessarily translate to more money in my bank account because I was so busy doing all these things. I had to spend more money on Ubers to get places on time, and I had to eat out more because I wasn't home long enough to like cook food. So I was just spending money on eating out and having drinks with people and stuff. And so it, you know, at first it was cool, and I felt like, oh, I'm doing a lot of work, and it was, relatively rewarding. But after a while, I think it just really started to wear on me. And once I realized that I wasn't actually making that much money that I could keep, it definitely wasn't worth it. So the biggest thing too is that since I was so busy, I never had the time to collaborate with like my friends, and Dylan would always ask me, to try to rehearse and do some stuff and read some new tunes and whatever. And a lot of times I would just have to say I can't because I'm too busy, or it was like the couple hours of free time I had the whole week. So you know, I just couldn't, do these things that I had previously really enjoyed doing. And um then I just got like so sucked into working with this company and doing these projects that it was hard to get out and hard to like back away from that. So uh I think it's kind of a blessing that COVID like shut down the whole music industry, because then that gave me an opportunity to, or it didn't give me an opportunity, but it forced me to like back away from that work and start doing all the other shit that I had been missing out on. Um, and now I've just totally like left all that behind me because I, you know, really wasn't making that much money in the long run, so it wasn't worth it to me. I met I met a lot of like really great musicians doing it, but I've already met them. I know them. We've worked together before, so I already have those connections. So for me, there's really no need to be in that kind of a role in that industry anymore. I'm sure that once weddings and stuff start to pick up again, I'll do the occasional wedding gig and whatnot. But you know, to the extent that I was doing it before, I don't know. I think I got involved too much too soon, probably. And although I don't even know if I would ever have enjoyed working that much in that industry, even if it wasn't like all at once. I think knowing what I know now about it, I think everyone is much better off just playing a minor role, because it's a very stressful environment too. And it's not really the kind of, environment you want to get like deeply involved in as a creative musician. It kind of just like sucks all the inspiration out of you. So
Yeah.
I'm happy now that I am able to just kind of do the things that I want to do, and then once the weddings and stuff pick back up again, I'm sure I'll do the occasional wedding or whatever. But yeah, I think I learned a lot from that experience.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks so much, by the way, for this has been story time with Max. I had to run to the restroom. We're an open book. I texted Max. I was like, dude, I am not feeling good. It might be a second. It's just like I've been having a lot of stomach issues, and I haven't been eating, and then I've been eating too much, and then like I've been having a lot of caffeine, and my sleep's been all over. It's like very weird, and I think sometimes that takes a physical toll. And I was just like, I'm not feeling good, so it's gonna be a second. But I also wanted him to share that because like, as someone who's, I mean, I feel like we've progressively gotten like closer over time and hung out more. I mean, more now because of the whole COVID thing and the job stuff. But we lived together for a chunk there, and when that was going on, was kind of at like the peak of, like, I feel like I got to watch, like, if you were to like draw an arch, right? It was like the work was picking up, and then it like hit this threshold of like, this is killing me and it's not great, and then this kind of like decline of it being like really tiring. And I remember, like, just for example, for everyone to get like a really clear grasp of the actual workload, I'd be home and it'd be like 2 or 3 a.m. and I'd be like, I wouldn't see Max at all, and I'd be going to sleep, and then I'd wake up at like, I don't know, 10, 11-ish on an early morning, and then he'd be gone again for something. And like, that was just insane. Like,
Yeah, it was a lot.
It's just a whole, I don't know. That's like a whole thing that you were going through to oh Jesus, I really fucked up trying to turn on my camera for you. And that's just like a whole, it worked. Yeah. And that's just like a whole ordeal. I'm so fucking bad at so we're on Discord, and sometimes he'll send me a message when we're on Discord, and he was like, hey, can you turn your camera on so I can see your glistening eyes? And I just can't not fucking laugh at that while I'm like trying to talk about.
I shouldn't have.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
To be subtle.
Yeah, no, I can't imagine either of us sending that message and not going that way. But it was really interesting to see that, because like, I mean, today, for example, right, I worked a full shift at my job because now I took on something at a climbing gym full time. Before that, I was trying to do teaching at a music school, which is like soul sucking and not paying enough or giving enough hours, because it's just like private lessons in a school can only provide so much. But it's different in that I guess it's not music related or like me related, but I like worked that full 8-hour shift and then rushed home to come on and do this. And like, there's been a song that's been in my head for the past like 3 days that I haven't written yet, because like, it's just like, I'm tired and I want to hang out with more of my fiance, or I want to like play games with friends or my brother, or like I want to like podcast, or like, there's just not a lot of options. And I feel like it's hard kind of no matter which way you cut it to not have that be the case. But it's interesting because I feel like you had something that was full-time with music, but like in regards to that creative side, it was very much like, didn't sound like it was the
I think
best.
Unfortunately, like, even though it was in the music world, it wasn't like I was being like creative with music all day, I was like doing emails or in the meeting, or just like trying to organize a spreadsheet of songs or something, so it was very like menial work a lot of times, so it didn't really do much for me. And it was, but then at the same time though, I think the fact that I was dealing with all things like generally involving music made it so that once I came home, I was kind of like mentally burnt out from doing all of this more like managerial kind of stuff. But then also the fact that I had been doing all of this stuff that was sort of music related and made it so that when I came home, I just like I couldn't even like bring myself to just like even like chill out and just like play piano or something
Yeah.
that normally I would do to like relax or just to like have fun.
Mm-hmm.
It just felt like it was almost a continuation of like my work day in a way, so it really just like I said, like it just sucked all the kind of creativity out of me. um but I don't know, I think it was also because i was I was just like working a lot too, so just probably in general I was just like kind of very tired.
Yeah,
um
man. Fatigue is a very, very real thing. I think I've had conversations with um, some people. I've had, that's a dumb fucking sentence. I've had some conversations with some people. Someone I've talked to about fatigue stuff is my, maybe I'll do a podcast with my brother. I didn't think about that till now, but he was in the military. So, I think you have to go through pretty like intense-ish things at times. Not to sound dramatic, but like everyone needs to like, or will one way or another eventually find their like zero fatigue thing. And I think that
yeah,
bar varies for everybody, and everyone like gets pushed sometimes, but there's like an absolute like finite base, like 0 Kelvin of energy when you like hit this actual, that's a science joke. Yeah, I took some science. uh where you just like don't have anything left, where it's like, yeah, I'm tired
yeah,
of shit, like I can't keep going, because it's just not, I don't know, it's like not, it's not a healthy thing, especially when it's something that's tied to something you're passionate about. It can kind of kill it. Like even people that like graduate
yeah,
school, they're like, I'm tired of music, because they just like studied it in this way that was so like academic or whatever, or they like just did it so much they're like, fuck. And that's like even doing what they
right,
want and more creative oftentimes, and they're just like, I need to pause for a second.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I think I'm also kind of the type of person that likes to just like go all in with work a lot of times. Like, I I take my job seriously, and I like, try to really put everything I have into, whatever job I'm doing. And I a lot of times mentally like bring this stuff home with me too. So I'm like always thinking about
Yeah.
work, and I think that's not really like a smart thing to do, because it just takes up more mental space, and then
Yeah.
doesn't leave room for anything else to like relieve you from that. So yeah, there comes a point where you're just gonna get burnt out.
Yeah.
And
And it's hard to compartmentalize
yeah,
like that too, like it's easy to just
right,
like pretend that you don't take work home with you, but like especially doing something like that, like you get
yeah,
you get
exactly,
stuff throughout the day. And like even so, my job at the climbing gym is probably not as equivalent, but there's like my whole thing is like member communications, member retention, selling new memberships, all of that. And like our gym hours are like 9ish to 10ish depending on the day, like AM to PM. So like there's one app that we have that I can turn off notifications for, but like emails and stuff, maybe I can mute it, but like you just get all these alerts and
right,
updates throughout anyways. So even if you're like strong enough to compartmentalize, which is already fucking hard as is, to be like, all right, I'm not thinking work. And then all of a sudden you get shit. Like I've literally been like laying in bed with more like, it'll be like the morning or nighttime or something, and I'm like trying to wind down and go to sleep, and then all of a sudden I'm like, fuck, like hang on a second, let me read this email real quick. It's like we're in the middle of a fucking movie, but like just the idea of knowing that it's there is just so like, oh fuck, I gotta check this thing,
yeah,
and then like it's just hard to, I don't know, it's just like a slippery slope of like, oh well, fuck, just always thinking about
yeah.
it.
I mean, plus I feel like the way that social media affects our attention span too, and the
Oh,
fact
it's
that like
nuts.
we're always kind of like waiting for a notification, or whether it's a like on Instagram or a text message or something.
Yeah.
The fact that like when we get an email, even if it's work or related, we like feel the need to like you know go respond, or at least open it to see what it is.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think everything kind of plays into that. um
Yeah, it's crazy.
but yeah, I'm gonna grab another beer, but I can still talk since
Damn.
Bluetooth.
Okay,
So
AirPods. I see out here. Are you gonna have service all the way down?
We'll see.
Oh, sick. We'll just do this as trial and error. We'll just do Marco Polo. Hey, Marco.
Polo.
Oh shit. Yeah,
I think it's
he's
good, dude.
sick. I think I hear stair sounds. So that's crazy. Max has an upstairs to his home, which is cool. That's why I'm so impressed that his AirPods are gonna reach, unless they don't. Max, are you still there?
No, they do. I can still hear you.
Holy
Yeah.
fuck, that's so crazy to think about. If you're again, we're on Twitch, twitch.tv/Dylan Mansour Music, and YouTube, Drinks with Dylan. Go like and subscribe to the YouTubes. It's a new channel. But it's just weird staring at the screen without his chair there, but he's still speaking. I know that's like dumb, and I sound like a 7-year-old dude that wears Velcro shoes and has a cane and like yells at kids on his lawn, but that's just nuts. Also, how fast he went down those stairs and came up with the beer, also just mind-boggling. I'm just easily
And I was
entertained, I
able to
guess.
pet my dog along the way too.
Damn, that's a full-on. That's this dude's goated at the podcast vibes. So I kind of want to. I mean, the last time I did this with a guest was with Sam, who you met. So me, Max, and Sam recorded a record, Dylan Mansour Trio. Everything's my name, which whatever. It just makes it easy to find. And called Home Couch. And the first time Max and Sam met was after the record was like already done and like put up on the internet. But we did one with Sam, and we kind of had more like objectives. Not really, but it was started by like a post on the internet that I shared. And Sam was like, "I'd like to talk about this on a podcast," and I was like, "Sick!" And that's how I found the guest for that day. But I want to kind of like open it up more to if there's like anything that's been on your mind or thoughts that you have, or just to create an awkward silence, but by like basically passing the baton to be like, "Hey, do you want to say anything?"
Um. Oh boy. Um. Trying to think. Well,
I'm going to leave all of that space
shit.
in, by the way. We need more space
Yeah.
on the mediums that we absorb. So I'm just going to leave that. There's no editing involved. It's just going to be a pause and everyone's going to be like, I wonder what he's thinking about. And you're only going to be able to watch the like contemplative beard stroke if you're on the Twitch or the YouTube, just to keep plugging that super not subtly. If you don't too, that's fine. I'm not stressing it.
Shit, I don't know, man. Well, I've kind of always like had a constant struggle with um like trying to I don't know. I feel like since I try to make myself a versatile musician, I guess, like, I play keys primarily, but I play a little drums, I'm writing and singing, and I can, do some light guitar and bass work. I always like, and now I'm trying to, work on a lot of my like production chops and stuff too. So,
Weird flex, but okay. No. Max does everything for anyone listening. He just
but I mean, that's the thing is like, I feel like it's a constant struggle between, you know, trying to just focus on like one thing and do it like really well and really like get known for that versus try to like do a bunch of things. So then you can always kind of like find a role, but it's never really like, you're never like the go-to person for that thing because that's not like your main thing. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So,
Um,
so it's, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if that's really something like to talk about,
No, that's dude. I think
but
it
it's,
is. I mean, I just do this
I
for
mean,
therapy anyways, so it's fine. No.
yeah.
um,
Well, I mean, I don't know. I feel like it, like, because I have like multiple like thoughts on it because I feel like as a musician, it's smart to try to not just like pigeonhole yourself because I feel like, you never really know how the industry is going to change, and it is an industry that changes often, and I think you want to like make sure that you're willing to adapt and find, a new way to, you know, make money essentially if you want to just like be a professional musician and have that as your main source of income. It's hard to do that if you're just like only doing one thing, unless you can like do that one thing so good that enough people only want you for that.
Yeah. Well,
So
I think that's oftentimes like viewed too as like a kind of like a mutually exclusive thing, where like you see someone that's like
mhm,
really good at one thing and you're like, fuck, they're just so good at this because it's all they did. But I feel like a lot of the times those people are actually good at numerous things, like if you look at like the
yeah,
musician, like if you look at Sput, right? Like what his name is like Robert Sput Searlight, I think. He's like won Grammys and shit, and he plays the hell out the drums for sure. But he can also like throw down on keys and like
yeah,
he can do both and arrange and do songwriting, and he does them all at like a high level. But then there are
right,
some people that like you see who are very much like one thing and don't do everything, or some people who do everything and do it well enough that they get known for stuff. I don't know, I feel like that's really, I struggle with the same kind of stuff because I mean I always want to do a lot of things all the time, and like it's not the same with music stuff. I mean, it was in school. I like started as like a double major, which was essentially a triple major. I majored in like percussion, steel pan, and jazz drums, which was just like 4 private
oh
lessons a
yeah,
week sucked. But because I wanted to like do everything, but it just got like very kind of like draining, and I felt pretty spread thin. And like even if I compare what I do musically now to what I did in high school I was doing way more stuff with like ensembles and playing in all these different
right,
groups. And now there's like no way I'm like qualified to play in like an orchestra anywhere, not even like a giant orchestra, like, but barring like a community band shell one where I'm gonna get like $50 a gig, like there's no way I'm gonna be qualified for that. And like
yeah,
I don't know. That's such a weird thing, and everyone always thinks about that quote, right? The jack of all trades, but master of none. But there's
yeah,
there's
exactly.
a second half to that though, where it's like, but oftentimes more useful than the master of one, which is like no one says
Hmm.
that part ever, which is like,
I'd never heard that before.
yeah, right, me neither. And then someone has said it to me, and I was like, well, I need to lay down and a
Hmm.
glass of water. Because I was
Yeah.
like, well, now nothing makes
Oh
sense
wow.
anymore. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's weird, but I feel like with the stuff you do, though, especially kind of, I mean, you hit a lot of points on what you do, but with the whole getting into production thing, like, there's a lot of dudes who make stuff by just kind of playing everything, and then they get good enough that they can put together their own stuff, or they like record their own things on. Like, I think Tom Misch used to track all of his stuff. I know Jacob Collier obviously
Yeah.
does. Like, I mean, that's a broad spectrum right there to have those two, obviously, but
Right.
like I mean,
No, but
where you can do it
I
and
mean
get,
that's like what I'm trying to do now, like with my music. I'm just trying to, you know, write and record and it's do everything myself. But
yeah,
in terms of like turning that into a viable career, in general, just like making music is
yeah,
not.
that's just already a hard. That's a whole
Yeah.
like, how do you even do this and make doll hairs? Yeah, and now everyone's like sad that everything
So
closed, but when it was open, it's like
yeah,
we made $20, man. This isn't killing your life's like income.
right, right. But I don't know. At the same time, I feel like it's something where it's like I don't know. I if I can get enough people
You want to say hi to
to
Max? More
I'm
came
more
on.
um like I think it's a matter of just like having a large community of people around you so that you have enough people who know your skills and who are you know interested in just collaborating with you in general, um that they'll hit you up, if if someone's like, oh hey Max, like can you just like put together a track of this or whatever, like if it's like a singer or something who needs like an instrumental track, I can be
Yeah,
like, oh yeah, sure. Or if they're just like, oh, can you just like add some keys to this, or oh, can I come over and just like record some vocals or whatever, and then I feel like if there's enough of those just like casual kind of interactions, I think that's like a pretty solid, um, you know, approach then, because I think that, then you have like multiple, you can think of it as like multiple streams of income, sort of. You have like different people hitting you up for different things.
Sure.
So then that
Yeah.
way, if like one person stops hitting you up for something, you still have like other people who know, to hit you up for other stuff. So I'm hoping that mentality, plays out in the end. But that's definitely like a concept that I personally like think about, and hope that I'm not just like making it harder for me in the long run by not like
I hope I'm like
focusing
going
on
the
one
right
thing.
way. I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, but dude, I feel like the whole like producing thing is kind of like the glue to that like really just like anchors all of it. Because I mean, I think it'd be different if you're doing this now, if you're doing this like 50 years ago and you're like, I'm going to learn like all the instruments and stuff. Like, I mean, sure, there were still people that would do that, but it's like a little bit less practical, other than probably knowing how to communicate better with like other players and stuff. But not like less practical, because I think it's never not helpful, but you know what I mean? Like, it's less literally, like there's less direct crossover to like, oh yeah, and then
Yeah.
I put together this track for this person by playing all of it, like
Right.
I don't know. I wanted the same with myself. Like, I want to get more into, so I like compose, I guess. I like write things, but it's never
Yeah.
like, I,
Exactly.
I want to do stuff that's more like, I want to get more into string quartets, and I want to write like orchestra pieces and like get into like some film scoring and like try to dabble in all those things. That's just terrifying to me, because that's just a big undertaking as a whole, to be like, now I'm gonna write for 40 instruments and fucking violas and alto clef, tenor clef, whichever. Those are
Yeah.
two stupid clefs. Whichever one viola's in, I hate it. C is the middle line, which makes no sense. It's just like an
Yeah.
ugly thing to write in. But like to kind of like diversify it in hopes of like having that become an option and something to pursue. But it's also just crazy to think about like how do you get there? How do you get into that like scene? How do you get multiple people to hit you up to lay instrumental like it's just there's so many like question marks in doing music stuff that I think a lot of people don't really grasp, where it's like, yeah, it's a lot of like this gesture where you just like lift your shoulders and you're like, I
Yeah.
don't know, and then like you're at a bar having drinks until 3 a.m, and then like sometimes that turns into a lot of money or no money, and you just like never know.
Yeah. I know. I feel like it's kind of the industry where you just have to keep trying like over and over and over again, even if like, people are saying no, because you just never know. Like one person might eventually say yes, and then that will lead you to, whatever it is. But
Yeah.
yeah, I've also always like kind of been the type of person who I don't know. I don't really like set specific goals. Like I don't know if that's like frowned upon, but I I just like to like keep my options open, and
Oh, okay,
you
gotcha.
know,
I wasn't sure if
like
there was gonna be more. Like, I don't really set specific goals, and I was like, wait, is there a second half? And you're like, I don't know if that's bad. It's like, oh, that was like the sentence. It's just like,
yeah,
I don't
no,
set
like
specific goals, dude. Me neither.
I don't yeah, I don't know. I mean, I feel like a lot of people have very specific like things they want to accomplish in their life. Like by the time I'm 30, I want to whatever. But I don't know. I've never really been that kind of a person. I think it's also just hard for me to like set my own deadlines and like actually meet them, because I always like find that with music it's hard to like say, okay, I'm gonna like have this song written and done and whatever by this day, because it's like sometimes you want to like do more, so it's hard to like
Yeah.
put a time restraint on stuff like that. But I don't know, I think it's also good, because then if like some random opportunity comes your way, if you're so focused on like just going in this one direction, then you might not be as willing to like take an opportunity that comes up that might take you somewhere else. And then I feel like I'm also like afraid of like, what if I like say I want to do something specific, but then I end up doing it and I like don't really enjoy it. Like
Yeah, if that's like your
you
thing,
never
you
really
sat to.
know. Yeah. So it's
Yeah,
like I feel like I'll always just like you know take advantage of what's there whenever an opportunity comes up. I always try to give it a shot, and if I enjoy it, then I keep doing it, and if I don't enjoy it, then I stop doing it. And
I mean, hey,
so
that's.
far,
I mean, that's a
so
pretty
far it's
solid. That's a pretty
not
solid
bad.
line. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think
I
when.
just try to do the things that make me happy.
Yeah, there you go. Drinks beer. I like. I think the goals thing. Like, I think those big goals are like super fucking arbitrary. We're like, when I'm 30, I'm gonna have 2 kids and a home and
Yeah.
this salary. It's like you don't fucking okay. And then 2020 happened, and then everyone was like, "Is this even which pill did I take? The red one or the
Right.
blue one?" Like, because
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
so arbitrary. But I think that the objective of it is good. Like, I think that the point of a long-term goal or whatever is like basically to like incentivize each day where it's like, okay, I need to do something today or whatever, to like
Yeah.
make like macro decision, macro smaller, macro's bigger, micro smaller.
hmm
Fuck it, what?
Micro smaller.
Yeah, to make those to make smaller decisions so that bigger decisions can happen. But like,
Yeah.
like I would love to do a whole bunch of shit in 5 years. I don't fucking think it's gonna happen, but if I like aim for that, it just allows me to do something now. But if I aim for that and I'm like, this is gonna happen, and then it doesn't happen, I'm just gonna be fucking devastated and like super sad. But if I'm like, yeah, I would like this in 5 years, and then you just do all these small, like it makes me work harder today trying to
Yeah.
do that. But I don't
Right.
expect it to happen. I think that a lot of people kind of like confuse that a little bit. But it's like, okay,
That's true. Yeah.
so regarding like all the streams of things and like income and like doing a whole bunch of stuff. So personally, I do like a handful of things, I guess. The trio stuff, I want to get back on and doing some stuff with some schools and trying to navigate that, which is very hard during a global pandemic, turns out. And just trying to figure that all out while everyone tries to learn how to like properly join a Zoom call with their pants on. It's just like, it's a whole to do. So aside from that, like I would like to do the trio thing and teaching and talking at schools more because I love that. And I want to like, I already have like the next record fucking put together. And like the other one, the last one came out like 2.5 weeks ago. And then like doing these videos now, it's going to be 2 videos a week, except this week I missed it. Because it's just hard for me to keep up with that output. But I try to put up like 1 theory video a week on Mondays. And that's like one thing that I've like really tried to kind of set as a deadline, and then trying to do a podcast once a week, and then trying to do the record, like the songs from the record, breaking them down and talking about the songwriting and the recording and all that. Try to do one of those a week, which means I'm posting 3 times a week. I'm doing the podcast and then 2 music videos on my YouTube channel, which is hard. And the only one I've been able to keep up with has been my Monday theory video posting. And like in gaining that consistency, I've noticed growth, and I think that is helpful, especially like in this time, but also we're in this kind of like giant rat race of things where, dipping back to what you said in our attention span, like the half-life of shit is nuts. Like if you look at any graph for anything I've ever put out, because you get all the analytics when you're on a YouTube page or when you release a record on these streaming platforms, it's just like this spike and then it like drops like immediately after, because it's just like no one even remembers what happened like a week ago on all these things. Like it's just so insanely quick and the drop off's nuts. So it's super hard to like put stuff up that often and also set deadlines for it. And even like the videos that I make that are music theory based, there's a lot of like, I'm not a very rigid person. Like I'm never fucking gonna write a script and then just read that word for word for a video. I'll like sit in the shower and think about it like the morning of or the day before and kind of run through in my head the bullet points that I want to hit and like the counter arguments I want to address. And that's like, I'll like kind of piece it together that way. And then when I do it, it's a whole like kind of creative thing. And there's times where I've gotten a theory video in 2 takes, and there's times where I've gotten it in 7, and I have to drink like 8 cups of coffee and it takes me 4.5 hours, and then I have to edit the whole thing, which like if I'm creative and want it to be funny, it takes me another 4 hours, and if I'm just like rushing, it takes like there's so many variables when there's like any element of creativity in it, and if you look at like traditionally business stuff, there's a whole creative team, there's a whole marketing and like graphic design team and all this stuff that has to like hit these deadlines. And I think that's such a weird there's such like a weird balance there. And there's a couple of videos that I've seen talking about, it was some doctor who's like some smart dude. I think I've talked about it before. I feel like I've said this a lot, but he addresses what he calls like a type C personality. And he talks about like a couple authors, right? It's like everyone's cliche of like, I'm going to go live in the woods so I can focus. No one you just fucking sit in the woods and then you just like walk around nature and you're like, wow, this is pretty chill. And then 3 years later, you're like, oh shit, what happened to that thing? Versus if you're somewhere where you're like working for a company and you have a deadline, it pushes you. And that balance of like being pushed versus not, and how that works with like creatives and creative personalities, which I definitely think is a whole other personality type in and of itself, is just such a weird thing. Nonetheless, like this era where everything is basically self-employment with like lack of record labels and with social media income and all this, like becomes like you were kind of your own company and boss and like timekeeper and all that is so weird. Like
Yeah, I think it's like it's interesting how this era of music has been such a shift in terms of, like you said, like being your own boss and record labels playing, I think, a very like different role than they used to. You know, I think before a label would, you know, help you get your song published and like get it on the radio and, you know, get it in stores. But now that there's, you know, Spotify and everyone just streams music from their phone and stuff, it's so easy for the artists themselves to just publish their own music and get it on Spotify and put it in a place where people can listen to it. You know, I think now record labels have shifted their role from, you know, from that publishing sort of side of things to like more of the like promotion and just like putting more money into an artist to help them, you know, record more music or whatever, or shoot a video, because now it's like the more content you have, the higher your success rate is, you know, because like you said, like the half-life of things is so short now. It's like if you put out an album, people are going to listen to your album for, you know, a week or two, and then they're going to stop listening to it. But if you put out one song, they're probably going to listen to it for the same amount of time and then stop. But then if you have another song to follow up with like a week or two later, then they'll listen to that. And then if you have another song to follow up with another week later, they'll start listening to that. And that'll stretch out your ability to kind of retain someone's attention span longer than it would if you had like one album worth of music, you know. So that's why everyone puts out singles now, is because people listen to a song for a week and then they get sick of it. So it's really weird. And then the other thing, like with that too, like literally just black and white numbers with a lot of this stuff for like YouTube, for example, right? First off, you need like a big following and number of watch hours or whatever. There's a point in time where I was monetized, believe it or not, that has since passed due to some adjustments they made. But I have $10 in a Google account I can't access because they closed her down. They made Moore's asking questions on the side. She's like, I didn't know that. And she said, what, really? Why? So they made it so you need 1,000 subs and 10,000 watch hours. I had the watch hours because I uploaded so many videos, but I didn't have the subs. They're basically trying to stop people from being able to go viral with no subscribers and make like a full-time living from that, which is bizarre. But regardless, when the half-life is so short, people aren't clicking on it more than that like one time or second time or whatever. And if you're not going to repeatedly like listen to something or check something out, with some of this, it's literally just ad revenue from the ad that plays before this. Like I'm a Twitch affiliate or whatever, so when you click on the stream, sometimes you get an ad before this, and if you stream every day, then you're like always clicking on it, whatever. If you post once a week on YouTube, or if you like, I don't know how the Spotify thing goes, but you watch it and you listen to it that one time, and then like that's the end of it, then you're not even like clicking on those ads, aside from not like checking out the product. Like you're not making the advertisers be like, yes, come into my hands and give me your dollars for my products. I don't know, it's weird, man. It makes like no sense to me at all. It's so bizarre because I feel like it's just like
taking shots in the dark and trying a whole bunch of things over and over and over. I feel like I finally found like a little bit of a rhythm with some of the YouTube stuff, but like it's just so weird for
Yeah,
me
I
to
mean, I
navigate
think
stuff, man.
it's just like a matter of being constantly uh like constantly just putting out content for people to see, because then your chances of getting a click or whatever is greater, just because you have more content out there, you know. So
Yeah.
it's more of a like quantity versus quality, or quantity over quality kind of thing these
Yeah.
days, I think, which really sucks, you know. But
Again, as a creative too, that's like so fucking draining. Like it's just so hard to
right,
like just do stuff that often, like all the time for people watching all
yeah,
the time. Like, and it's funny because me and Sam had like a pretty similar conversation that ended up going kind of the same route, talking about music and income and like social medias. But like, I talked about the Red Hot Chili Peppers book because that's something that like I know other bands did it, but I like got to read the life story of Anthony Kiedis, who's the lead singer, and like they got signed to a label when they were still like not super huge, and then they put out this record, got promoted to like national tour, and then they just like fuck off for a year or two and like do nothing. And he would, I mean, go shoot up heroin under a bridge, but like, you know, like everyone did their thing, and now that's like
yeah,
so unheard of because like you can't
yeah,
become that, like you'll just like fucking become irrelevant, you know, and everyone's gonna be like, oh, they just like died, fell off the face of the earth. I followed some YouTube channels where they stopped posting and then they come back, and like if they don't come back in some giant big way with some giant perfect video with a perfect clickbait title, they just, now their
yeah.
viewership's
People
cut
just
in
already
half.
forgot about them. Yeah,
Yeah, which is crazy,
I
man.
know,
It's like
and I think
terrifying
that's why
too.
now with pop music and stuff, like no, I mean, hardly ever does the singer write the music, or at least without the help of, you know, 10 or 20 other people, because you need that many people to be able to churn out songs that fast, you know. Like Ariana Grande just released another album of music, and it's like she just put out 2 albums last year, and now she already has another album of music out. But I mean, it's because, you know, there's songs that, you know, 20, 30 people have collectively worked on, and so all she needs to do is just show up and sing it. um
Yeah.
so it's a totally different kind of approach to music these days, you know, where it's not really about the music so much as it just is about the personality of the artist and their appearance on social media, and you
Yeah,
know, the
man.
like extravagance
Ugh.
of their tours and stuff. And I don't think people really like listen to songs for the, you know, the, you know,
Song.
depth and the yeah, the quality of the music. It's more just like, oh, this is this singer who I like, and they're, you know,
They did a thing.
this is a new song. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. Which is
well,
so
I feel like
weird,
once you get
man.
to a
Like
point, you can just like put out anything, and it's like
it's
when
gonna be
Justin Bieber
okay.
put out that song "Yummy." I was like, you're kidding, right? Like, like I thought that was the biggest like fuck you to the whole music industry, because that song is just the most like there. I feel like you could have been like a kindergartner and written that song. You know, I don't think there was hardly any effort put into that,
Yeah,
and
yeah. I
it
think there's like a
became a huge
line.
hit.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing too, is because like I would say, like I don't think it's easy to just make a single that's huge, right? But I guess like the fine print of that is like a first single that gets huge, you know? Like it's
Right.
not easy to it's not easy to be him and put out Baby and make it fucking gigantic. But once you're him and you have this traction, it's easy to put out Yummy and have it be like,
Yeah.
hey, look at me, fucking just soar up the like, because once you
Yeah.
get that attention, there's something to be said for like, okay, it's there, and then it's just gonna stay there. And I was thinking on what you said earlier, there was some song. Fuck, I can't remember what it was. It was some like Lady Gaga song. Fuck, I don't know it. So might lose a little bit of momentum. But it was like middle school dance time for me, which was like
That
2000.
was like one of her
Like
first albums, probably, right?
yeah, it was like before 2010. It was like some stuff, and like the second it came on, I was like, oh shit, I know exactly like the time and place and all about this. Like I know this song and I recognize it, and I wonder if that's still going to be the case, because even you think about like someone like Drake who puts out these songs that get like huge, how timeless is that going to be? Is timeless even a thing when stuff moves this fast, like, because it just feels like
Yeah,
it's so quickly
totally.
like eaten up and spit out that you're not going to go back and listen to this and be like, yo, this is mind-boggling, right? Oh shit. Like, I don't know. It's like
Well,
concerning.
I think like we're starting to see that with some music that like from that era, from like the like high school dance kind of era. Like I I know, a lot of people now like early Drake and early like Lady Gaga, and I guess it's even maybe like music like a little bit earlier than that, like early like Usher stuff now sort of has like a timeless, like yeah, like Usher,
Yeah.
yeah, it's sort of like like that's almost like a timeless song now, where I feel like in 20-30 years that song is still gonna like, people are gonna have some type of reaction to that.
Yeah.
But but also on the other hand, maybe I don't, I guess that song maybe was still pre like streaming, so maybe that doesn't count because that doesn't fall into this
Weird.
category of
Everything's
like
so fast.
immediate. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm trying to think of like what was like one of the first big hits that came out like
A
after
Spotify
like
banger.
Spotify. Yeah, like a song that like people like were obsessed with and then immediately I don't know. I mean, I guess the fact that we can't really like think of one, I guess that kind of means
Like
something
that sums
because
it up.
yeah, like I mean, I think about that a lot as a in terms of like artists too. Like I'm thinking like who would be like the like the Stevie Wonder of today or something. It's like
Yeah.
there's no artists out now where everyone is like, oh my God, they are like such an amazing musician. Their songs are so good. Like like they don't. There's no artist out that has like this like mute like universal respect. That artists had. I feel like in the you know
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
80s and before. I think once like the 90s like boy band kind of era came around where artists stopped writing their songs, I think people stopped associating the actual music with the artist, and then that made it harder for people to remember the artist for their music in 10, 20 years.
yeah. Yeah. I think it's hard. I mean, the only two that I could think of that seem like very big to me, where I've like seen them be posted on by numerous other large musicians' socials, is like John Mayer, but he kind of started before this
Mm,
whole lapse, and like Mac Miller, where
right.
those are two guys that were playing with like a lot of big names and a lot of big musicians, where everyone kind of like respected
That's true.
their music. But again, it's
Well,
like
I think
it's
in the hip hop community in general too, I guess there's more of that kind of respect. I think Kendrick Lamar would probably be someone who like
sure.
really like lasts because I feel like he's always kind of put out music that has shifted people's perspective of things, I think, and kind of changed the game a little bit. And it's like his music, so to an extent, I mean, at
Yeah.
least it's his lyrics, but
Yeah, or like one of those big things that came out was what's Donald Glover? He did that thing,
right,
"This Is America," and that was huge for
yeah,
like 2 weeks, and that was like the biggest thing ever, and it
yeah,
lasted 2 weeks. Like that's insane. If someone put out
yeah,
shit like this, like people still talk about a Mingus record that had lyrics that was talking about like racism in America, that like the lyrics got taken out of, but that was huge then because the time and everything moved so much slower, and like it's not that's not the dude, it's so weird, man, and it like stresses me out. And the other thing, and I wish I said this sooner because I meant to and then I forgot about it, is that when regarding the Chili Peppers comment about people just being like, like I'm just gonna do nothing for a year while you're not on tour, I think
hmm
sometimes that's the case, but also there are like musicians that still work every day and still write songs every day, like I have no
Yeah.
doubt that during that year of like his drug addiction, I was gonna make like a really sad joke, like, yeah, the year of him shooting up, but then I felt bad about it. But like, making mistakes and bad decisions and whatever else, like you're still like coming home to your guitar and practicing and writing songs. And I think any musician you ask is gonna have a whole bunch of music that no one's ever heard before. And now I feel like well, the reason why I think that is because everyone wants to make sure that they put out something that's super important and that's like meaningful and good. They don't want to just be like, fuck it, here's a song I wrote yesterday and it's great, because that's not always the case, even though you might try to write every day or whatever. But now it's like you kind of just put out everything you have because like you have to which is like super weird, because then the quality just by default is gonna, like it's gonna go away. Not everything that everyone's ever written or painted or drew or any art form is good. Like not every creative commercial that everyone was like, yeah, this is good and creative, like isn't good. There's a reason why stuff gets scratched, stuff never gets seen, but people are always working on it, is because like that filtration to make sure it's something quality has always been there and is important.
Yeah.
And now we're just like, fuck it, we'll just do the things. I don't know, man. It's a crazy time. We got to find something like happy to conclude.
Okay, I got it actually, because you started talking about commercials again. Let me send you my favorite commercial of all time.
Hell yeah, I'm excited for it. By the way, everyone that's listening while he searches this, first off, thank you for being here. This has been a weird episode. I feel like it started slow because I was distracted by intense stomach pain and Discord issues. But we listen, we made it. We made it this far, which is great. I forgot to say this. I'll say it in the intro, but you should check out Max's stuff at Max Mulready and his project at High Acres, which is like his production stuff and like some singles and things he's doing. And I'm just going to continue to peer pressure him to stream and put out more music because I want to see it. And, we all have a half-life of 0 minutes now. So just going to pressure him. So you should follow him on socials and do the same. But thank you for being here and checking it out. I'm going to play this commercial on stream. And
okay, I was going to say, you want me to send it to you, or I can share my screen? But let me
send it to me, and then we'll watch it.
Okay. I just sent you a link through Discord.
Almond. Oh wait. Oh god. Hey, hang on. I fucked up. How long is it? 35 seconds. Yep. Okay. So let's open YouTube. I'm gonna hide me and Max for a second. I guess I'll play this on YouTube and hope I don't get screwed. Max probably won't be able to see or hear this, but we're going to see. Maybe this will make the podcast. I don't know. We're not big enough to have this be an issue. Fuck it. I'll just put it in there. But you can't see the video unless you're on the stream. So you should follow the YouTube, Drinks with Dylan, and also Jesus Christ. This has been I'm so tired. I'm sorry. Twitch.tv/DylanMansurMusic. I can't even plug my own shit. I'm like exhausted from like, I'm falling apart, man. Work and sleeping like crap. Here we go. I'll enjoy a commercial.
Sometimes you feel like a nut. Sometimes you don't. I'm enjoy that nuts. Mounds don't. I'm enjoy's got real milk chocolate, coconut and munchy nuts too. Mounds got deep dark chocolate and chewy coconut. Ooh. Sometimes you feel like a nut.
The key change.
You don't. Peter Paul, I'm enjoy's got nuts. Peter Paul mounds don't. Because sometimes you feel like a nut, sometimes you don't.
At the end, someone's like, all right. That's so good.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you can hear that. All right.
Coconut and munchy nuts too.
Yep.
I'm enjoy's got real milk chocolate, coconut and munchy nuts too.
One sec.
Mounds got deep dark chocolate and chewy coconut. Ooh.
Where's that happening?
Sometimes you feel like a nut, sometimes you don't. Peter Paul.
That's funny. Yeah, that's great. I'm super into that. We're back. There we go. Now our faces are back. Yeah, it's so goofy. That's like pretty out. When was that commercial from? Like
I think it's 1978.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I think my mom showed me that one.
That's great.
Obviously, I didn't watch it on TV.
Well, yeah. I mean, listen, that'd be pretty.
But
impressive.
then they used the same song, but like in the 80s, they added like an 80s like drum beat to it, and it was more like synthy, but it was the same like melody and lyrics and stuff. So they like remixed it to match the era.
Yeah, I mean, dude, there's so many timeless things. Like, how many looks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop? Or like,
yeah, exactly.
what's that one thing, like 877 Cash Now? Like, that's not a good commercial, but there's
Right.
like certain stuff that just like sticks. And I feel like I can't think of things now that like,
I know.
I don't know, that stick. Because I feel like I'm already, like, I already fucking forgot about the Geico commercials with the caveman and the gecko. And that's like
Oh
not
yeah,
that
the
old.
caveman. I forgot about the caveman. Yeah.
Yeah, so easy a caveman
Yeah.
could do it. And that was like
Right.
before stuff started moving this fast. But I don't know. I wonder if anything's gonna be timeless. I hope so. You know, because that'd be cool. But
I don't know. I think with the whole, this era of the news happening so quickly too, it's like a 60-second news cycle these days. You can't
Yeah.
I forgot. I was like reading old articles about like politics pre-Trump, like pre-2016 Trump, and I was like, they were talking about like people who I completely forgot about. Like they're talking about John Boehner, and I was like, oh man, I forgot about him, and I forgot Paul Ryan used to be like
Yeah.
the head of the Republican Party, and I was like, oh my god, I completely forgot about like Paul
Yeah.
Ryan, and he used to be like, the dude.
He was like a
and
name that was the guy.
Yeah, and I was like, "Whoa, no shit, Paul Ryan."
Yeah, you feel. You're
And
like,
so
oh,
it's
that
like
was 4
you
years
just
ago.
forget about these things, and
Yeah, it's scary, man. It's like really scary, honestly.
is.
Not to make it
I
dark
know.
again, but it's bizarre. Are there any? Do you have any? I guess I'll hand it back. Are there any closing thoughts other than the almond joy? Almond joys have nuts and fuck, mounds.
Mounds don't.
Oh, wait, no, the other way. Oh yeah, mounds don't. Which
Yeah.
is weird because mounds, you'd think like the mound of an. That's just bad naming. No one ever always fucks that up, you know. Because
True. But
like
mounds,
mound, you
mounds
think, like,
have the dark chocolate is the thing. So,
but what?
Because
Yeah.
almond joy is milk chocolate. So I ideally, for me personally, I would ideally enjoy the combination of the two, which is the dark chocolate
With the almond.
with the almond in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but unfortunately,
Almond mounds.
it's one
Well,
or the
why
other.
would they call it mounds if
Yeah.
there's no nut on it? Because that would make like a mound, right? Like what about that candy bar
That's
looks more
true.
like a mound than any other?
Right. If anything, it's like lacking the mound.
Yeah, moundless. This is moundless. I don't know, man.
But here we are talking about mounds so much, so
And
something
almond joy.
worked.
Dude, I fucking
Yeah.
love those candy bars though. That shit's that shit
Yeah.
slaps. All right. Well, yeah.
No,
Anything you want to plug? Any final? No, I guess. All
Oh,
right.
you already did it for me. Yeah, High Acres on Spotify. I'm gonna release another song in the next couple of weeks or so. I'm finally done with all the production, so I just have to get my my promo stuff together, and then I'll be releasing that.
Nice.
And after I talked about how it doesn't make sense to release an album these days, I'm gonna probably go ahead and release an album.
Hell
in the
yeah.
next couple months too.
Fuck the man.
Just
do it anyways. You got it.
Just
I believe.
because I don't know. To me, I still listen to like vinyl and stuff. So to me, like an album has worth, like as a compilation of songs, sort of. Like there's something
Sure.
about like, the first song and then the second song and then the third song and so
Yeah.
on, or it actually like takes you
Somewhere.
there,
Yeah.
to quote a Dylan Mansour song.
Yeah, we have a song called "Take You There." That's a thing, and there's a whole bunch of stuff that there's gonna be more stuff with the trio too coming soon, and we need to do more Scotch and steak breakfasts because that was a great time.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for being here,
All right, man.
Max. Thanks everyone else for being here as well and checking out the podcast. There's gonna be stuff linked below. I'm gonna link his socials and my socials. And if you want to see us do something together that's not this podcast, you can check out the trio record where he mixes and masters and records and also plays the keys. Yeah, thanks for being here. I will see you on the next episode. Hope your drinks were great. I don't have a conclusion for this, so I don't know how to start these and how to end these because I don't have. In my videos, I always say like grab a drink, grab a snack, hang out, and then I say see you on the next one, peace. And this is just fucking rambling. I'm gonna cut it right here.